read a book word by word and page by page. You participate in its creation. And as you read and reread, the book, of course, participates in the creation of you. Your thoughts and feelings, the size and temper of your soul. Okay, so it was my great pleasure today to be moderator and to moderate the sharing of three very distinguished guests, Agnes, Ronny, and Harry. So to tell us about how reading as empowerment. So I'd like to start with Ronny. So I know that you have always been the first in class in the university and also in graduate school.
I was never like that in secondary school.
Still, there is
so I'm a late bloomer.
So there is a secret to share. Could you share with us your secrets of success and how you think of reading as knowledge empowerment?
Well, I must say that I have no secrets to share because I have absolutely no idea. Why is it that I could do well in law? In fact, when I was in secondary school, I never dreamt that I could be a lawyer. I had a good friend who said to me when I was in secondary school, he said, "I want to be a lawyer." And I looked at him, he came from a well-to-do family. In those days, if you want to be a lawyer, you have to go to England to get qualified. So I said, yeah, look at him, he's good-looking, he's come from a well-off family, he's very good in English, very articulate, and he looks so confident, and I'm exactly the opposite of everything he is. So I said to myself, I could never be a lawyer. I could be perhaps the best, at best, to be a teacher. But life moves in a mysterious way. He is now a lawyer, but not quite as successful as other lawyers. On the other hand, I became a barrister, and I became chairman of the bar, and then a legislative councillor. So, you can never tell. Things can turn around really quickly in life.
So, but how do you think that reading has helped you gain that knowledge and ability?
Well, that's funny you should ask that question, because when I was small, I read quite a bit, but I read only Chinese. I read, all the 三國志, 西遊記, and I read all the 金庸小說, 古龍小說, all that stuff. I don't actually read a lot of English books, actually. However, when I get into university, I have to read a lot, but not really books, but decisions, because under our system, we have the common law system. The law is actually embodied in thousands of reports. If you come into my room, you'll see my walls are lined with books, and I have to read a lot of cases, a lot of decided decisions. They're not fun to read, I can tell you, but it's useful for me as a lawyer. I have to say that I'm not quite sure why I'm sitting here today because as a legislator, I actually don't get to read a lot. I just don't have time to read. Nowadays, I rarely buy any books because every week, every day, a lot of people give me a lot of books to read. So actually, I don't actually need to go and buy books. The only books that I buy are Kindle books, electronic books, which not paperbacks, which I read from my iPad, my computer, and I only buy novels to read nowadays. Every other thing I get it from people I know and people I don't know.
Wonderful. I think that reading has empowered you to become who you are, and it makes it so different from the person, the other lawyer student that you've known before. Thank you very much for your sharing. So I'd like to go on with Agnes. So you are both an eager reader and a poet who has touched many souls. So could you tell us some more about your loving relationship with books, with reading and writing?
Sure. The first thing is I want to apologize. I lost my voice. But so if I don't chat a lot with you in between the session, please forgive me. But I have enough voice to talk about my love of reading. In fact, I didn't even know I liked reading when I was young, but I just read. And there were many books in my home all the time because I'm the fifth in a family of 6 children. So, and then we were living in Stanley, and there was no television in those days because I'm very old. So when I was young, it was a long time ago, there was no television. We had the beach. So what was there to do? I played with my brothers and sisters. We swam. We learned how to row a boat. We did all those things, and we read. And I read all the books that my brothers and sisters they left behind for me because in those days in schools, it's very common for teachers to assign you books to read over the summer holidays. So I had the advantage of reading all the books from the summer holidays of all my older brothers and sisters as well. So I started like that. And then I became quite addicted. And I didn't even know that I was addicted until there was one time when I was a teenager, and I borrowed this book from the library. It was 1,000 pages long. It was War and Peace. I read it in one day and one night. Of course, I skipped a lot of it. I was so interested just in the main characters, you see, so I didn't care very much about the other characters. I didn't even care to know whether they got married or not, but I was only interested in the main characters, whether this person could survive the war, that kind of thing. So I read it very quickly. And, I just became very compulsive. Any book that I picked up, I had to finish it out of curiosity. And then as an adult, when I was much older, there was a really nasty book that I was reading. I hated it when I was reading it. I thought it was so badly written. It was a novel. And I hated it, really. But I still had to finish it because I was compulsive, you see. So the moment I finished it, I literally threw it into the rubbish bin in the kitchen because I felt this book should not be read by anybody else. Okay, so I'm like that, so it's not surprising, therefore, that when I was a student, as an undergrad, I had no difficulty at all with my subjects because I was doing literature, and I said, oh great, so many books, I could read them. And I didn't feel I was studying, I was just reading. And then it was very easy for me to remember a lot of things because they were like people I knew, in those days. To me, the characters in the books were like people I knew. I cared about them, so I just wanted to find out what happened. So it was very easy. Now, of course, now, as a teacher myself, I don't teach literature, actually, except for one course. I teach Asian poetry. But most of the other things I teach are like, for example, language policy in China, language education in China, psycholinguistics, which is how people learn languages. And I also teach people how to write their dissertation. I teach PhD students how to write a dissertation. And I say, hey, then how does it help you? It actually helps me a lot. Reading, to me, is actually trying to find out the story of anything. And what I've discovered is that whether it's law, or medicine, or social work, or architecture, whatever it is, eventually it's the story. If you to study social work, for example, you may be studying cases about people who were not well treated by certain people. If you study medicine, you have to read cases about patients. If you study law, you have to find out how these people tried to sue each other and why certain people won and why certain people didn't. So I feel that the story structure is actually so useful for remembering any kind of knowledge. Maybe I should stop here. Thank you very much.